All right, let's dive right into this, into Springfield's watering hole, Moe's Tavern. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the art of the prank call on The Simpsons.
Oh, this will be good.
Specifically, those targeting Moe Szyslak.
Classic.
You know, The Simpsons, they always find a way to take something as simple as a prank call and turn it into, like, this hilarious commentary on, well, character humor, the whole bit.
Absolutely. It's genius how they use these calls to, like peel back the layers of Mo. You know what I mean?
Wow.
He's this gruff bartender, but there's this vulnerability there just waiting to be exploited.
And they exploit it beautifully, and you provided us with so much awesome material for this deep dive. Going through these calls, it really struck me just how perfect Moe's personality is for this. He's got that short fuse, he's just like begging for it.
Oh, totally. The writers definitely knew what they were doing. Take, for example, Bart's prank names. IP Freely, Jacques Strap.
Oh man, those are classic.
They're juvenile, silly, but they work because they tap into that universal thing of childish humor.
I swear, every time I hear one of those names, I'm transported back to being 10 years old, giggling along with Bart as he dials the phone.
It's the simplicity of it all, right?
Yeah.
The unexpected juxtaposition of the mundane Mo answering the phone with the completely absurd, these ridiculous names.
And the best part, Moe falls for it every single
But
time.
is there an alcoholic here? I mean, come on, it's comedy gold.
Yeah.
But here's where things get interesting. Bart's not the only one working the phones, right?
You're telling me. Don't forget about Homer.
Homer, who of course goes for the completely outlandish, like with Ura Snotball, which is so perfectly Homer, right? Like you can't get more Homer than that, and that's what makes it so funny. It's so dumb, so outlandish that it circles right back around to hilarious. You know what I mean? It's a gag only Homer could pull off.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like a fingerprint. That call could only come from him. And then you've got young Marge giving it a go, asking for Elvis Jagger Abdul-Jabbar, which again, feels so true to her character, even as a kid.
Exactly. You see that whimsical, imaginative side of Marge, even back then. It's like a little peek into her future, her future quirks and all that. It's amazing how much you can pack into a simple prank call, right?
I know. Those layers, those little hints of character development that make these calls more than just throwaway jokes. They're woven into the very fabric of the show.
Totally. The writers were masters at that, at layering the humor with those little character moments.
But it's not always fun and games, is it? Some of these calls, they take on a bit of a darker tone.
That's right. There's a few in there that go beyond the usual harmless prank.
Like that one where Bart uses a prank call to, like, totally sabotage Jimbo's date with Laura Powers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it kind of takes you by surprise because you're so used to the lightheartedness of it all, and then bam, real-world consequences.
Yeah, it goes from, like, a harmless prank to something, well, kind of mean,
Yeah,
Like, it actually affects those characters outside of that phone call.
totally. It makes you realize that even in a cartoon, even in Springfield, actions have consequences, right?
Exactly. And it makes you wonder about Bart a little, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, is he really just in it for the laughs, or is there something else going on there?
Right. Like, where do you draw the line between harmless fun and, actual malice?
It's actually a pretty deep question, and it's a testament to the show's writers that they can tackle those kinds of themes, even through something as seemingly simple as a prank call.
Totally agree. They don't shy away from those deeper layers, even when they're making us laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of laughs, can we talk about the pure comedic genius of some of these calls? The names, the way Moe falls for it every single time, it's like clockwork.
It's true. It's like they cracked the code for a perfect comedic formula.
Exactly. And the writers are masters at using repetition for comedic effect. Like, think about Moe's line, insert ridiculous name here. He asks it every single time, and it never gets old.
Never. It's because we're in on the joke, right? We know what's coming, and that anticipation, that shared experience with the show, it just makes it even funnier.
100%. It's like this satisfying punchline that we all get to enjoy together, and the more it happens, the funnier it gets. And you know what else? It wouldn't be as funny if it wasn't Moe. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's as much about Moe's reaction as it is about the prank itself.
For sure. That's what makes it a running gag, right? It's that perfect storm of the prank, Moe's gullibility, his short temper. It all just comes together in this beautiful, hilarious mess.
Beautifully said.
And speaking of beautiful messes and running gags, we can't forget about the prank call that's practically reached legendary status.
Oh, you mean?
The one and only Seymour Butts.
Classic. That name, I swear, it's iconic.
It really is. I mean, even people who've never seen The Simpsons know that name.
It's true. It's like it's just ingrained in our pop culture consciousness at this point.
It's amazing how a joke that simple, that perfectly delivered, can have that kind of staying power. It's a testament to the writers, really.
Absolutely. And it's not just the name itself. It's the way it's delivered, the setup. The whole thing just comes together so perfectly.
Right. Like, at the first time I heard it, I was floored. It's just this perfectly calibrated joke. It's got that element of surprise. It's juvenile, but it's also kind of brilliant in its simplicity. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
It works on so many levels. You've got the wordplay, the sheer ridiculousness of it all, and it just lands perfectly every time.
I mean, Seymour Butts, come on, it's comedy gold.
Pure gold. And the best part, it's transcended the show itself.
Totally. I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's like this cultural phenomenon at this point.
Right, you see it in memes, other TV shows, movies even. It's everywhere.
Like in Futurama, when Fry names his dog Seymour Asses.
Yes. Such a great nod to The Simpsons.
It's true. It just goes to show you the power of a good joke, right?
For sure. Like these little nuggets of humor can take on a life of their own and become part of our shared cultural language.
They really took that joke and ran with it, huh? You know what else is amazing? All the ground we've covered today, from like the pure absurdity of IP Freely to that like kind of heavy stuff with Laura Powers.
It really makes you think about the show in a whole new way, doesn't it?
For sure. It's like they can make you laugh until your sides hurt 1 minute and then like really make you think the next.
It's a delicate balance, but they make it look effortless.
Exactly. And it's that ability to do both that's kept The Simpsons going all these years, you know? It's never just one thing, which is what makes it so brilliant.
100% agree. These prank calls, they're like this perfect example of that. They're silly, but there's this whole other layer there, this intelligence, this heart even.
Totally. They're not just pranks. They're these little windows into the characters, into the show itself.
Exactly. They're funny, but they also like reveal these deeper truths about Springfield, about us even.
Wow. When you put it like that, it's kind of mind-blowing, right?
It really is. And I think that's what makes The Simpsons so special. It works on so many levels.
For sure. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Moe's Tavern and the wonderful world of prank calls, I gotta ask, after all this, after really dissecting these calls, do you see The Simpsons differently? Like, has this changed your perspective at all?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I always knew the show was funny, but now, like, I have this whole new appreciation for the craft, for the layers, for the sheer brilliance of it all.
Right. It makes you want to go back and rewatch every episode with a whole new perspective, doesn't it?
100%. Like, there's so much there that I missed before.
Exactly. It's like those prank calls, they're just the tip of the iceberg, you know?
Totally. There's this whole other world beneath the surface, just waiting to be explored.
Well said. I think that's the perfect note to end on. So, to everyone listening, next time you hear Mo pick up the phone, remember, there's more to those prank calls than meets the ear.
And you never know. You might just learn a thing or two about comedy, about characters, about life even, along the way.
That's what we like to hear. Until next time, happy deep diving, everyone.